Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Beautiful Messiness of Becoming. I'm your host, Doria, and we are on episode 2 of this podcast. And I just want to quickly say that I am super grateful, and I want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart for listening to my first episode. It was very difficult and a lot for me to actually put that out because it's not easy, putting yourself online in that way, especially when you're not talking to a lot of people in your personal life about it. So I just want to thank you guys so much for receiving it so well, for listening, and for tuning into this episode. I hope I continue to impact people, to speak to people, to relate to people. And that's just, my main goal of all of this, just to be relatable, be real, honest, and transparent, and to speak things that people are afraid of speaking. So I just want to thank everybody for listening, and let's get into this week's episode. So today I want to talk about missing messages from God, missing calls from God. And again, if you're not religious, take what I say and apply it to what you do. If you hear things from the universe, from your friends, family, however you want to spin it. But for me, I'm talking about missing calls from God. And I wanted to talk about this today because I recently went through a situation where I was talking to two people, and I did a lot of things too fast with these two people, and it put me in a situation where I was fighting with my flesh and my spirit. I know a lot of pastors and a lot of prophets talk about the fight between flesh and spirit, doing things for your body and then doing things for God, and knowing and being solid in your faith. And I tend to always find myself in that kind of situation because I'm a very non-confrontational person. I don't like to feel tons of emotion at once. I don't like to be hurt. I don't like to feel pain. I don't want any of that sometimes. And with me feeling that way comes with a lot of blocking. I tend to instantly block people when they hurt my feelings. I tend to turn away from experiences and situations when they don't go my way, or when I feel like I'm being threatened or attacked. And it's really in those moments where I feel like God speaks to you the most, because you never know what needs to be broken off from you, what needs to be threatened, what needs to be attacked in order for you to let go and fully surrender and sacrifice yourself to God. Because when you live your life, let me not say you because I don't want to speak for everybody. Let me speak for myself. When I live my life, I tend to live in a way where I want to fully submit to God, but I'm not willing to sacrifice the things in my life or even sacrifice myself in order to get to that next point. And when I talk about sacrifice, for example, I want to live a healthy life. I want to be able to have stamina again, to build my core, to build my body up, to build strength. But I still vape, and I mentally am not ready to sacrifice that addiction I have with nicotine to fully be the healthy person that I want to be. And every time I hit my vape, I feel that sense of guilt, like, damn, like I keep trying to tell myself I'm going to quit. But then the moment something gets stressful for me, I'm itching and scratching my neck like, yo, where the hell is my vape at? And it is just insane that I was able to quit smoking weed because of, for one, my health, because I tend to get very weak and brittle when I smoke weed. Like my legs be shaking. I can't be feeling my legs no more. and like just overall my health and like my mental state is not good when I smoke weed anymore. And this is coming from someone who's been smoking weed since she was 15 years old. 9 years later, I am just now realizing that weed affects me terribly in when it comes to my health. So, I stopped smoking, and also because I was smoking with my friend and we found a piece of redwood in her joint, and we both were scared to the gods. She knows exactly what I'm talking about too. Like, we were both scared. I ain't never smoked a joint after that. I hit her like medical grade like weed pen. That's when my legs started shaking real bad. I was dizzy. I was unbalanced, panting, and I have a history with fainting. So yeah, that's besides the point. But what I'm trying to say is I cannot fully sacrifice myself in order to be the healthy person I want to be, because I can't get off of the vape because it's a comfort for me. I've been vaping all throughout my college experience. I actually started with Juuls in high school, and then I stopped for a little bit because I wasn't old enough to buy the pods, and then I had friends in college that vaped, and then I just got back on it, and I've been on it ever since. And it's always been that crutch, that comfort for me. In a stressful situation, I'll just hit my vape, feel that head high, and then I'll be calm. And God is speaking to me and putting that guilt into me because He knows that I'm better than this. I'm better than to find comfort in something that I'm putting into my lungs that has no reason to be there. That's why it took me so long to quit smoking weed, because I always used it as a comfort. I wasn't willing to fully let my body expel all those wants for it, because I was so comforted with the fact that I was allowing myself to be high to avoid my problems. And I've missed so many calls, so many messages, so many signs from God to be a better person, because all I wanted to do all day was smoke weed, get drunk, and hit my vape. So I say all that to say that this past week, well, not this past week, like the past few weeks, I've been in a situation where I've been battling flesh and spirit. I've been wanting to do things to satisfy, my body, my wants, and not really acting in a way that satisfies God, satisfies my spirit, not pouring into my faith the way I need to be, just wanting to do things because I just want to feel comforted. I just want attention. I just want to feel accepted. But I know that with that situation, I'm only wanting that because I haven't had it in so long. I haven't been in a relationship in 4 years. So I do tend to crave, that attention, that comfort of sleeping next to somebody, having someone to talk to all the time. And because I wanted that so badly, after I told myself that this year I was going to be single, I wasn't going to have any relationships with anybody, I was going to be abstaining from sex, I found myself in a position where I went against all of that. And it turned left, I would say pretty quickly, because I ignored every sign that God threw at me. I talked to my sister about it. She gave me her advice. And, like I said last week, when her and I speak, always goes back to God. Completely ignored everything she said. Not everything, but most things she said in terms of figuring out exactly what I want, what I need, what God's calling for me. I completely ignored that because I wanted the attention. I wanted to fulfill my desires. There was a Wednesday night encounter with a church I watch on YouTube. Completely ignored that because I was so engulfed in the conversations I was having and the attention I was getting. I would have rather been on FaceTime or texting somebody than sitting down and taking the hour and a half to listen to that encounter. I scrolled past all the faith-based content on my Instagram, my YouTube, my TikTok, because I was just craving a laugh. I just wanted to find something funny to watch instead of hearing God at a random moment throughout my day. All these things that I avoid and I push back and I block are all things that keep me in the same position that I've been in. I'm avoiding hearing things from other people, taking advice, listening to God's word on days other than Sunday and Wednesday, because I just want to do what I feel is best for me. And I just want to be happy and be content and just have a little fun and let loose. Like I'm only 24. There's only so much more life I have to live until I have to fully settle down and start a family and get a 9 to 5 and be on a salary and get my degree and do all these things that are expected of me as an adult. It's like, when can I get a break and just be free, be a 20-year-old, be a woman in my 20s and just have fun and let loose? When can I get that without having to sacrifice so much of myself to be a better person at the same time? You know what I mean? It's been a really difficult balance for me, and I feel like this past week showed me that although you block these things out and you miss the messages that God sends for you, you can still live that life. It's all about making the right choice and just knowing that your pride isn't always the answer. Your comfort isn't always a safe space. And you have to step out of that comfortability and be uncomfortable in order to do the things you want. Having gone through that week with, that situation and, just fulfilling my desires over knowing what God wanted for me in that week, things went left and I found myself in a position where I had already lied to people about things I was doing, and I had already omitted truths from people about what I was doing. I went back to those sermons and those Wednesday night encounters that I missed. And when I tell you, I was screaming and yelling in my car, because, a little sidebar, my car is like my safe space. My car, I've built an altar in. I call for God, I pray, I worship, I praise, I listen to sermons in my car because that's where I feel the most comfort. So I'm in my car listening to these sermons, listening to the encounters, and I am like, excuse my French, holy fuck. Had I just freaking listened to this when it came to me, I would have had the insight to not make the stupid decisions that I just fucking made. That's literally and I need to work on my cursing because I need to stop cursing, but that's just honestly how I felt. Why the fuck am I so pressed about, having fun and doing me and being single but having fun at the same time, if I'm just going to forget God in the process? Had I just freaking listened to him, I would have known what to do and I wouldn't be in the situation I am now. Because now I go places and I feel uncomfortable. Now I have to see people and the vibe is just so off. It's tense for no reason, when I could have just listened to God and heard him when I needed to hear him and made a better decision, a decision he wanted for me, not something that I thought was best for me at the time. Because when that happened, I realized I was under attack. I was being attacked with the temptation of fulfilling my flesh over my spirit. I chose to do something that would temporarily satisfy me, other than hearing a word that will forever change the way I think about situations. And although hearing the word would have come at the cost of not doing things that would have satisfied me temporarily and bring me happiness temporarily, I just chose to do the wrong thing. I gave into the temptation, and now I'm sitting here facing the consequences over it. And it's just so fucking frustrating because I've been in this cycle all the time. Like, and this is what happened with me and my ex. I gave into temptation. Although we weren't dating at the time, I gave into temptation. I was doing what I wanted to do on the side, still going on dates with him. And when he decided to actually take me seriously, I cut things off outside of him, and I decided to fully be loyal and faithful to him. And then my guilt was eating at me so much. I told him what happened, and then we got in a whole argument about it, and he started cheating on me because of it. Had I just been honest the whole time and not gave in to the temptation and wanting to have, those college experiences and doing things I never did before, I would have been in a healthier relationship. Although I don't think that he was the person for me, he was more so a person I needed to learn from. And I did learn a lot from that relationship. Like, I would have been so much happier in 2020, 2021, even 2022, because that led into a lot of situationships that ended terribly for me because I blocked myself from fully sacrificing and surrendering to God and hearing what he had to tell me. And every time I go through these situations and I go back to the word and I pray to God and ask for forgiveness and repent for what I just did, I always feel like, he's telling me, I told you so. Like, this is what happened. You thought you knew what was good for you, and look what happened. Didn't I tell you not to do that? Didn't I tell you, even if you want to do that, to come to me first? Let me help you advise yourself through this situation so that you don't have to make the same mistakes again. Because I'm sitting here 4 years later still doing things I did when I was 20 years old. I am about to be 25. I feel like I'm in a place right now where I just need to fully focus on becoming an adult and making myself more mature and allowing myself more grace and being more wise in situations, because if I don't do that, I'm just going to constantly be stuck as the 20-year-old Doria that made terrible decisions for herself and had to pay for it years down the line. I don't want to be 25 still fixing myself from 20 years old. Like, I don't want to do that. It's tiring. It's frustrating. It's like, when am I going to ever fucking learn my lesson? And for me, like, it just changes my whole outlook on life, because I don't ever want to miss a message from God again, having gone through that. It's one thing to be young and do what you want to do, be free, and then you realize later that, like, you made the wrong decision. But once you encounter God, once you walk in Christ, you open yourself up to faith and you fully believe that the Father in heaven that we all have, the one who created all life, is actually working in your life and doing things that you never thought were possible. And then you go ahead and make those silly ass decisions and you turn your ears off to everything that he puts in front of you, that he has set out for you. When those things go bad and then you go back to him, that is a different level of disappointment, because it's like, I knew better. I fucking knew better. So why did I ever allow myself to do what I just did? Because I'm still stuck in my ways. It takes a lot to fully sit down, look yourself in the mirror, and take full accountability for all the dumbass decisions you be making. Like, it takes so much to fully sit with yourself and see the truth about who you are, because there's only so much that you can do to help yourself realize that. But it's what other people tell you, it's what God tells you, It's what happens in your life based off of how you move that tells you the most about who you are as a person. And I went through these past few weeks just thinking like, damn, if I miss another message from God, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I don't know how much more of this I can take. I don't know how much more of the toxicity I can take. I don't know how much more of the disappointment I can take, the hurt, the pain, because although I don't want to feel it, I have to. God's not allowing these situations to happen to me for no reason. He's teaching me a lesson. And every lesson that I used to get in the past that was hurtful, disappointing, you know, everything that just put a negative taste in my mouth, I just always try to brush it off and just pretend like, oh, if it's not in my way anymore, if I could just move it and just, tuck it in and just put it in a bag and just leave it in the corner, I don't have to worry about it again. But I realize like I have to go through it. I have to be beaten. I have to be tried. I have to be tested. I have to be attacked. I have to be tempted with everything in order to actually face the truth and move forward and understand the true meaning about life in my way, in my eyes. Like I have to fully be attacked in order to see where my heart posture really stands. Because these past few weeks, I'm going to be honest, my heart was not with God. I was fully accepting every temptation the devil threw at me. And it put me in a situation now where I am forced to live with the tenseness, the weird vibes, the pettiness. Like, I'm forced to deal with so much that I could have just easily avoided had I just taken the 3 seconds and pressed that YouTube video and watched the sermon, watch the encounter. Because Lord, what I tell you, the message in that sermon, had I listened to it, let me go back and tell you what sermon what it was. Because it was from Evolve Church, and y'all gonna be hearing me talk about Evolve Church all the time because they speak to me in a way that other churches have not spoken to me. And the other sermon that really spoke to me that I actually missed was called Protect Your Joy. And boy, that was the week I needed to protect my joy. Because we all go through it, right? We all talk to a guy and we're like, oh my gosh, like this is just so fun. Yo, this whole time I didn't plug my freaking microphone in. Oh my God. Whatever. So we all have that situation where like we talk to a guy and we're like, oh my God, this is so fun. Like, it's casual, it's whatever. Like, I don't have to have no feelings behind this. But then something happens and all of a sudden you realize your feelings are involved and you're like, fuck, I don't even know like what to do. Like, I'm starting to feel something for this guy, but he's just not on the same page as me. And now I'm acting in a way where like I want more, but I can't really ask for more because we agreed on one thing and now I feel another thing. And it's like, yo, I don't even know what to do. Should I just keep being casual and like pretending that I'm okay with this, but then still get jealous over what he does besides me? Or like, should I just fully let go, know my worth, move away, protect my peace, protect my joy, and do me and just hope that God brings somebody into my life? 9 times out of 10, a girl who wants attention, a girl who wants comfort, a girl who wants to feel happy just for a few days instead of a few years is going to keep talking to that guy. You're going to keep talking to that nigga and you're going to feel like, oh, something will give, something will let up, something will happen to where I won't feel this way anymore. But what you just did was block God from allowing you to be blessed with the man that is God-fearing and wanting to be the best man for you and for God. A God a guy who puts God before anything, a guy who is going to honor his wife, a guy who is going to protect his family, protect his wife, protect his everything in order to be the best husband for you, in order to be the best boyfriend, to be the best friend. Like, you just blocked all of that. And that is exactly what I feel like I'm doing. Like, I'm blocking God from allowing me to be blessed with someone he deems the perfect husband for me, because I want to be satisfied temporarily with this little boy who can't do nothing for me, who has his own things to deal with. Like, I'm allowing myself to take on the demons and the spiritual warfare of somebody else because I just want to feel satisfied for a night. Like, that's not healthy. When am I going to learn my lesson and know my worth, know my value, know what I have to offer? Because I'm trying to become the person that is someone's wife. I'm trying to become someone's wife. I'm trying to be the best partner I can be. I'm trying to be a mother. I'm trying to be a businesswoman, an entrepreneur. What am I doing playing games with these little boys if I have a bigger mission? I have a bigger picture to fulfill. I have a relationship with God to hone. I'm sacrificing myself. I'm sacrificing my relationship with God to be in a temporary situationship with somebody who can't even give me everything that I want in a relationship, who can't even make me a girlfriend, who can't even be a friend. Like, it just makes no sense to me. And I sit and I wonder, when will I fully surrender myself to my faith and be patient? When will I do that? Because, yeah, a situationship is fun and all. It'll teach you a lesson, but it comes at the sacrifice of yourself, your worth, everything that you've healed up until the point you met this person and allowed yourself to continue to engage with this person day in, day out, knowing that they're not providing you with what you need to have a healthy relationship, to make you happy long term, and not for a few weeks, few months, few days, long term. They're not giving you none of that. So when are you going to sacrifice that? When are you going to lay your body out at the altar and give your burnt offerings? Let go of that pride. Let go of that ego. Let go of everything that holds you in this temporary state of satisfaction, and fully surrender yourself and have your peace offerings and have your moments of fully being humiliated, being stripped down, and giving yourself to God. When are you going to know which road to take? Because it's like you keep walking in the road of temptation and then taking the shortcut to God and then going right back to that same road. When are you going to take the road less traveled? When are you going to actually hear God and understand what He has set for you? Even in the moments of temptation, you have to seek God. You have to seek the message that He sends you, because this is not happening for a reason. The devil tempted you with this person, and you dare accept it and then still go to church praying that you're doing what you have to do. You're doing what you need to do to build a relationship with God. You're not doing that. Because at the end of the day, yeah, you're doing what you need to do as a Christian, going to church, having your Wednesday night encounters, praying, doing your Bible study. You're doing all that, but you're still allowing the temptation to eat at you when the doors are closed and the lights are turned off. And then you wake up the next morning wondering why you feel so icky, because you have all that spiritual warfare stuck in you, creeping in your subconscious. It's time for me to take a step back and realize, like, it's okay to be single. It's okay to be alone. It's okay to just be surrounded by friends and family, because You're at a point now where you're not learning your lesson. You're healing yourself from the trauma, from the past situations, past relationships. You're healing yourself from all that, but then you're still picking the scab at it and going back to your old ways when it comes to new eye candy, new boy toys, or whatever. It's time to just let that go. Fully surrender, fully let go, and just be in a relationship with God. Be fully yourself. Allow Him to fully soak into you so that you can one day be baptized again. One day be able to go to the stairs of heaven and just know that you're going to be encountered. You're going to be accepted. You're going to be able to say, I did what I had to do. I know God. I feel Him. I hear Him. I'm walking in the path of Christ. I'm doing what I have to do. I've listened to Him. Even when times got hard, I listened to Him. I stayed faithful. I stayed honest. I stayed true to my word. And I did what I have to do. I listened to what God said. Instead of hearing the phone ring for Him and pressing decline and doing what I want to do. All in all, y'all, I am never missing a call from God again. Because, baby, if I have to go through something like that again without first seeking God, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to repent until the next daylight savings, because it's just frustrating, having to repeat same patterns. When you feel like you're taking a step forward, you're suddenly pushed 10 steps back because you feel like, oh, okay, I feel like I'm at a place now where I can just do what I want. Sometimes you're single, you can do what you want isn't always the best advice. And I know, like, it's easier said than done, but like, just because you're single doesn't mean that you can do whatever you want. Always prioritize. Always make sure that the decisions you make are the decisions that will help you to achieve your bigger goal, your biggest mission. Always make sure that the things that are tempting for you, you don't engage unless you know the journey of it or the outcome of it will allow you to grow into a better person. Don't allow your old ways to be your comfort space. And I know I'm saying this as if I'm speaking, advice, but I'm also speaking to myself too. Like, don't allow your old ways to be a crutch and a comfort for you, because sometimes your old ways is just a way for the devil to keep you stuck in the past, to keep you stuck in what's harmful for you, what's evil for you. And it won't help you grow as a person. It won't help you grow closer to God. It won't help you grow your faith. It won't help you fully surrender. It won't help you get that job. It won't help you get that man. It won't help you get that girl. It won't help you get that new house, that new car. Nothing. It will just keep you in the past, repeating those same cycles. Because I know at least some of y'all are listening, and y'all still talking to that nigga y'all still talking to that guy that's been hurting you for the past 4, 5, 6 years, or maybe a few months, that you're still going back to when times get hard, or when you're lonely, or when you want something for a quick little whatever. I know we all have that. It's okay, girl. I feel you, because I have that too. But I need to learn to let go. Because sometimes the old isn't always the best. Sometimes what we think is comfortable and safe for us is just a disguise for a trap. It's a trap. He's trapping you. He's allowing you to make you feel comfortable and allowing you to settle for whatever the hell he thinks you guys have, when you know exactly what you want. You want to be wife. You want to be a wife. You want to be married. You want to have kids. You want to be in a stable, healthy, and loving relationship. You want to be with a man that is God-fearing and who answers to him before anybody else. So it's time to let go of the of the guy or the little boy that you're talking to that doesn't even go to church. It's time to let go of the toxicity, the late night you up texts. It's time to let go of the emotional turmoil, the unintelligence when it comes to mental and emotional maturity. It's time to let go of people who keep you stagnant, who keep you in a place where you want more, but they're not willing or able to give you more. The people who use you for a good time and don't want you around for a long time. It's time to let go of all of that and start allowing ourselves to accept people who have emotional maturity, the people who are ready to pour into you the way you pour into them, the people who are actually God-fearing, the people who are willing to give you their all and do whatever it takes to show you that you're worth it for them, that they're willing to fully submit and love you the way you deserve to be loved. It's time for us to let go of the past, let go of the guy who's keeping you hostage and who has been keeping you hostage for months, years, even weeks, and allow God to mold us and shape us into the husbands and wives that we know we can be, so that we never have to deal with that toxicity again. Like, these are the kind of messages from God I tend to block out, and I never want to miss another one ever again. The more messages we miss, the harder it is for us to find him again when we really need him. And we have to learn to hear him even when we feel like we don't need him. Just because you do your work doesn't mean that God stops talking to you. He's always listening. He's always looking. He's always being mindful of what you're doing. And he's always putting things in your path to see if the relationship you guys have is real. So when that temptation comes, what would God do? What would Jesus do? What does God have to say before I decide to take this, before I decide to do this? I need to always remember that. And if I spoke a word to you today, you need to remember that too, girl or guy. Because we need to get out of this toxic cycle. We need to let go of the situationships in 2024 and start looking for healthy relationships. If you can't be solid, faithful, loyal, I don't want it. I'd rather be single than be in a toxic situation that's going to hurt me and traumatize me for my next relationship. I need to grow and be the woman that I know I can be. I need to be the kind of person I would want to be in a relationship with. Because if I were of the opposite sex and I met me, I would not want to be in a relationship with me. So I need to grow and be the person I would want to be in a relationship with. I need to be the person that God wants me to be in order to be a faithful, loving, and helpful wife. I need to be everything that God is calling me to do and to call me and is calling me to be. Because otherwise, I'm just going to keep being stuck. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired of running in this hamster circle. It's time for me to jump off. I may fall, I may be spent out, I may get a concussion, but as long as God is with me and God is holding my hand, I'll heal. I may feel hurt, I may feel disappointed, I may feel tired, I may feel traumatized, but as long as I keep calling on God, I keep hearing what he has to tell me, I keep running to him when things get rough, I will get through any obstacle, any temptation, any road that is hard. I will get through it all. Because he's the one that we're worshiping, he's the one that we're praising, he's the one that will help us get through all the toughness. And if for you that's not God, if it's the universe, if it's the stars, the zodiacs, if it's something else, whatever, apply that. Know that there's something bigger out there for you, and there's a reason why something's happening. Nothing's a coincidence. Nothing's a happenstance. Everything happens for a reason. So always sit back, remove yourself temporarily from a situation, look at all angles, analyze, and make sure you're listening to all sources, advices. You're listening to messages, good or bad. Once you hear everything, once you're exposed to everything, you'll know exactly what to do for yourself. And with that, I want you guys to leave any comments, any stories you want to share, anything relatable. If you have anything to say at all, please leave it in the comments. Please leave it on the polls. I really want to engage and talk about this because I know it's something we all go through in our 20s or even in our teens. Like, we all go through that. And as long as we're staying truthful with ourselves and being honest and hearing what we have to say, because it's hard to accept, but we don't always know what's best for ourselves. So as long as we're taking accountability, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page, that we deserve better. We need to know our worth. We need to protect our peace and our joy. And as long as we keep hearing God, we keep seeking God, seeking the universe, seeking the stars, whatever you do, we will be better. So sound off down below. Make sure you rate this podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. I will be on YouTube soon, so once I am, you guys will definitely be hearing about it. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Please share, comment, like, do whatever you have to do to get this podcast out. If you're enjoying it, if you're locked in, if you're loving it, it means the world to me, and I'm so happy to be here and to be speaking with you guys. So until then, stay beautifully messy, and I will see you next week. Mwah. Bye.